How's everyone doing today? Good. Have you ever met someone who you wanted to thank because they absolutely changed your life? In my life, there have been many women who have left an imprint on my heart and mind and influenced the type of leader that I've become. However, there is one woman who absolutely changed my life, and her name is Mrs. Terry Brinston, my former youth Bible study leader. In 1997, she shared her story with me about how she overcame reading challenges to become a nurse and school teacher after I walked out of our youth Bible study. That day, Mrs. Brinston walked out after me and she asked me, "Are you okay?" And with tears flowing down my face, I told her, "I'm a struggling reader." I was self-conscious. I feared rejection. In class, I would shrink within myself every time my teacher called on me to read. In fact, I would try to read ahead to avoid stumbling over my words. So for my ladies in the audience, and even for those watching virtually, it's like wearing your best dress with your matching heels, you know, the cute ones that you like. And I see some of you have on some cute shoes today. And you step out to present your best self, and you stumble and you fall for all to see. How embarrassing, right? So for me, that is exactly how I felt every time that I would stumble over my words. And Mrs. Brinston was the first person that I met who understood my pain. She told me about how she struggled with her reading throughout her adolescence, but how she overcame that challenge and that I could overcome that challenge too. She said, and I'll never forget it, she said, "Robin, you are afraid of failure, but you are an achiever." And I'm telling you that those words, they just sat in my heart. It was like medicine. And it was what I needed in order to stop playing small and move towards a path towards success. By my junior year in high school, I enrolled in a dual medical assistant program. I competed in medical terminology and speech competitions. In my senior year, I won first place for sharing the same story that I'm sharing with you today. I graduated from high school with honors, and I enrolled at a nearby community college. My parents, they pushed education in our household. However, neither one of them graduated from college. So I was eager to experience college life. I joined my student newspaper. I became the music editor. Several years later, my children's manuscript, Mama Got Rhythm and Daddy Got Rhyme, was accepted for publication, and I became a children's author. So you see, the narrative of my life began to change because Mrs. Brinston shared her story with me, and she encouraged me along my journey. Sharon L. Adler, who is an inspirational author, once wrote, "Carve your name on hearts, not tombstones. A legacy is etched in the minds of others in the stories they tell about you." I'm sharing this story with you today because it is a powerful example of leadership legacy. Because Mrs. Brinston poured into my life and she invested in me, it not only had an impact on my life, but it had a reciprocal impact. In 2005, I was asked to become a reading tutor to help support adults at my church who were struggling readers. And while that ministry did not come to fruition, I still knew that I wanted to help and I wanted to do something. So in 2007, I founded the Josie Odom Morris Literacy Project, JOM LP, to provide literacy tutoring services to adults and families within my community. I named the organization after my grandmother, my late grandmother, Josie Odom Morris, who was an educator. She was an educator within Detroit Public Schools. And JOM LP continues to serve Inkster residents to this day. In collaboration with partnering organizations, illiteracy rates have decreased by 4% since the inception of JOM LP. Thank you. And the narrative of my community is changing because people are committed to community outreach and service. In the United States, illiteracy costs businesses and taxpayers $20 billion per year. You heard me. $20 billion per year. And according to the National Institute for Literacy, more than 20% of adults who live in the United States read at or below a 5th grade reading level, far below the level needed to earn a living wage. And I know those statistics are startling. However, even with these harsh realities, there's hope, because lives can be changed and communities can be transformed when leaders show up for the people that they serve. Mrs. Brinston, she showed up for me, and my life changed. So I ask you, who has shown up for you? Who are you showing up for right now? There are 3 lessons that I learned from Mrs. Brinston, and I want to share them with you today. The first lesson that I learned from Mrs. Brinston is that you have to be willing to work through your fears in order to learn and grow. We all stumble and fall along our way, and we're confronted with choices. The choice to press, pause, pivot, or stop. I could have walked out of that youth Bible study and never returned, but I continued to press. And because I continued to press, I have now been able to live out my life's purpose. So if you don't quit, you can maximize your potential and find a deeper meaning in your service to others. The second thing that I learned from Mrs. Brinston is that you have to be intentional and have strategies for success. What is your vision for yourself and for your community? And do you have a plan on how you're going to get there? Because I'm telling you that if you don't have a plan, you are planning to fail. And the third thing that I learned from Mrs. Brinston is that you have to be willing to be vulnerable and share your story with others, just like I'm doing with you today. I'm forever grateful that Mrs. Brinston shared her story with me, and she's actually here today in our audience, and I would like to honor her by just asking her if she wouldn't mind please standing just for a moment to be acknowledged. For those who are viewing virtually, I know that you cannot see Mrs. Brinston, but Mrs. Brinston, I want to tell you that I love you, and I know you know that I love you. And if you are comfortable, you're more than welcome to join me on stage, but I wanted you to know that I love you and I appreciate what you've meant to me in my life. And for those who are listening via the live stream, I just must say that I am so honored that she shared her story with me. She's gonna join me. I'm so honored that she shared her story with me. I'm a graduate of the University of Michigan, Dearborn. Go Blue. And at my graduation celebration, she shared with me that I was the first person that she shared her story with. Can you imagine that? What if she had not shared her story with me? I'm so thankful that she shared her story with me because it absolutely changed my life. And 23 years ago, I know that she didn't know that by sharing her story that it would change my life and that I would become a community leader. I've gone on to learn French and publish articles in local and national newspapers. And that is because she shared her story with me and she left a mark on my life. And that is a prime example of leadership legacy. And if all of us were to be honest, none of us get to where we are in our lives without the support of others. Today, I'm a teacher, and I serve first grade scholars at a foreign language immersion school. And I love my scholars, and I'm mindful of what I say and what I do because I recognize that what I say and what I do could change someone's life. And I want to leave a legacy of excellence in service. So today I challenge you, as you consider your legacy or the legacy that you wish to leave, how are you using your lived experiences to be a catalyst for change in your community? How is your community different because you are there? I recommend that you share your story. I recommend that you start there because stories are powerful and they have the potential to change someone's life and the life of a community. And I want to thank you for allowing me to share my story with you because you never know how your story might be the next story that changes someone's life. I'm Robin Wilson, the Resolute Strategist, and if you would like to learn more about my work, please visit www.robin, I spell my name with an I, so it's R-O-B-I-N, Michelle, 2 L's, Wilson.com. Thank you for your time.